Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy evening to join me. I really do appreciate it. So, quick sidebar here. Did you know that, back in the day, we're talking when radios first came out type day, you feel me? That, presidents would go on the weekly, sometimes, multiple times a week, and just talk to, the people of the United States, and that people listened. They listened. They were active listeners just because, I guess it was one of the only things to listen to. And also, there was some incentive into being a part of your government, you feel me, and knowing what was going on and knowing what the government was up to and just what they were trying to do to try to make your life a better place. Again, just because it's hard to do that, right? Be it men in armed or men that are armed in tactical gear outside of every city block, or through the voluntarily, willful, consenting decision that you should be just good in society and just do well and stuff. But you can't entirely be that way unless you're supported by your government in a way that allows you to be that way. You feel me? And we've talked about that before. So there obviously is a way to run shit, and there is a way to engage, and there is a way to talk to the people that you work for, because after all, presidents, should work for us. It shouldn't be the other way around at all by any means. We shouldn't be enriching oligarchs or promoting fascism or letting people that have committed blatant treason participate in any sort of American mainstream politics, but yet here we are. And that's not at all what we're going to be talking about tonight, so let's get off that track and let's talk about something that my roommate brought to my attention, actually, I think yesterday and then a little bit today. But the idea that Michael Jordan is attacking NASCAR or whatever, you feel me? And not in that way was it reported to me, only in a way that I interpreted it as, just because if anyone could make some sort of impactful change in what already is a pretty racist sport. I mean, and I don't blame the racist, the racism in that particular sport on the people that, and I know that's weird, and this is weird to say, but on the people, because I just feel like they're ill-informed, you feel me? And I think a lack of education and a lack of integration and a lack of just knowing about another person's culture kind of creates some tension to begin with, you feel me? But more or less, I mean, they're not just openly racist people, I would say, you feel me? And the way that I think about the average NASCAR fan, you feel me? But as an agency, right? And these people are obviously members and a part of that larger agency, but as an agency, it is pretty racist, you feel me? I mean, again, call it what you will, systematic racism is what people that think logically and with truth would say, right? And again, I absolutely agree with the idea that Michael Jordan is saying, to NASCAR that you can't do some of the things that you're doing and think that it's lawful, right? I mean, just because, again, it's one thing to just be a certain type of way, but it is another thing when it's protected under law, and so people don't have to change, and they won't change, you feel me? And so if there aren't specific rules about certain things that are either included or excluded, people are going to actively seek loopholes, right? So instead of just being openly racist as an agency itself, in and of itself, NASCAR, what they do is they gatekeep everything, right? They make it stupid expensive for anybody that has ever even just wanted to begin a career in NASCAR. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's always blown my mind that 98% of all the fans at NASCAR can't afford a running car. Again, this is coming from a poor half, I'm a Hispanic guy, I'm just saying, while these other dudes are getting paid sponsorships in the millions, sometimes billions of dollars, you feel me, to race around a track, and then when their car breaks down or whatever, it's literally $30,000 a tire or whatever. And it's just sort of that is a complex thing to all take in, right? I mean, it should be noted that if you were pricing things at what they cost, and not at an inflated cost of like whatever it was that you perceive to be. And again, these things may or may not be protected legally, or they may or may not be lawful, right? And so it's hard to say that like I can't start a sport tomorrow where the equipment involved in that sport, I overly inflated the prices that needed to be there, and I limited the manufacturers that could make like help that sort of area and engineering or whatever. Like I just controlled all of that, you feel me? And like it didn't matter that it cost me only cents or whatever to source rubber and then to assemble it and make this tire. I'm charging 60,000 a tire, you feel me? And if you can't afford it, you can't race. You can't be a part of my league. Now that is systematically racist in that, historically speaking, marginalized communities, namely black and brown people, but it should be noted that poor white people are also a part of this as well. Like they gotta pay if they can't afford it, right? So it doesn't matter if it's just said that like there aren't any black people allowed in NASCAR, for example. Let's just make it so that black people aren't wealthy at all, ever, and couldn't ever afford to even have an opportunity to be a part of the sport, much less own a team, much less make any actual meaningful changes to what we've created here at NASCAR. NASCAR reminds me a lot of, the PGA. You feel me? And I feel like Indy racing is a whole lot more representative of, like, equality, but, like, that's already on a systematically racist, Eurocentric, Western, imperialistic world view, you feel me? Just because, again, the participants from the different countries that are all collectively making shit worse for the rest of us, you feel me? Like, it don't matter what country or flag or banner or color you claim, you know what I mean? If you're a part of the problem, you're a part of the problem, and that's facts, But, like, I'm just saying that, Michael Jordan and him going into NASCAR, I mean, at this point, it would be cheaper for the dude just to, like, start his own racing league. And I mean, you think about those things, right? Like, I'm sure a guy like Michael Jordan has thought of that. I'm sure people are telling him to maybe continue to think about things like that, just because if these people don't want money, you feel me, the money will follow elsewhere. And if I tell you what, if there's anybody that has a reputation, in the sporting world alone, to actually like bankrupt NASCAR, it would be Michael Jordan. So it would be well advised in, like, if I were NASCAR, to allow this man to be a part of the sport and for him to publicly advocate that shit isn't fair and that it shouldn't cost millions of dollars just to be a part of it, and that it shouldn't be gatekept in the way that it currently is. If people want to make money, they should want to make money. If people want to compete, they should want to compete. You know what I mean? So, like, that's all that I'm saying, right? That's how it should be. And so I think Michael Jordan's well on track to making sure that, again, I will make the argument now, and I will publicly say that that man can bankrupt NASCAR single-handedly. I like, why would it take a team or a handful or a room full of well-paid, well-dressed white guys that get paid tons of money to tell you this? You know what I mean? This guy's a household name. He's like Jesus. You feel me? I mean, you could never even have ever seen or actually been a part of the game of basketball, and you'd still know this guy. Again, like, just like Jesus or Ronald McDonald. I mean, there are just some legends that never go away. You feel me? No matter what. And I'm just saying that, like, in 100 years, people will likely still know Michael Jordan. It's because it's a part of the culture, right? He's become a part of our lives, essentially. I mean, how many times have people spent, having conversations in, like, hour-long durations based on this dude? How many people have, like, lived their entire lives and have had careers analyzing and, keeping tabs and records and doing all these different things that involve that man specifically. Again, NASCAR, like, whatever Jordan wants, Jordan should get. You feel me? And you should listen to the man, because he knows a thing or two about making money. You feel me? And again, I'm a socialist here, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, all these capitalists are out there, and I think at the end of the day, and I've said this before too, right? Like, there's no such thing as a good fascist. And I've said that because one of the Murdochs had said there's no such thing as a good Nazi. You feel me? But, like, I don't think, sometimes people are even in it for the money. I think people are so sadistic and psychopathic that sometimes money is like an afterthought. You feel me? Like they're just into some weird shit at this point. They just like want to control you and like, control a certain industry and do all this weird shit. And it's just sort of like, okay, like that's weird, because like I thought it was about the money, Mr. Moneybags. I thought this world ran on the dollar, but then all of a sudden, evil people get their own versions of conscious, and they're sort of like, no, we can't allow black or brown people into this sport. What the hell are you thinking? We barely let a couple of women here. You feel me? I mean, it's just sort of like, okay, cool. Well, that isn't a problem, I guess, until you meet somebody like Michael Jordan who has a problem with it and wants to be a part of the sport and wants to, again, what is good for racing inarguably would be good, or what's good for Michael Jordan inarguably would be good for racing. Like, that's just without a doubt. So, like, if it were about the money, why aren't institutions that have been historically or can historically be viewed as racist in a kind of a way not jumping at the opportunity to make that paper? You feel me? They would rather actively spend money to not change than to just like make more money while changing. And again, so it really isn't a question of like making money. You feel me? It's a question of like somebody's balls. Like somebody wants power, Somebody is like hell-bent on making sure that they have control. And again, I think that's weird, In and out of character, I think that's a very weird thing. I think it's just not a human way to feel, but what do I know? And I'm gonna get out of character now. Hey guys, I really appreciate you watching my videos. Thank you very much. It means a whole lot, and I enjoy talking about all of the things that we talk about, and I feel that way. Like Michael Jordan ain't the dude, and he's got money, and moreover, he's got the support of I mean, this guy, if he wanted to be president, he probably could. I'm just saying, just based on likeness alone, you feel me? And again, that's can be debated. I get it, and that's cool. But I don't think his cultural impact can ever be debated, good or bad. And so, appreciate all of you guys. I hope that you guys have had a really awesome weekend. I understand it's Tuesday now, probably closer to Wednesday. I think it was getting close to midnight. Maybe my guess is 11:09. What time is it? Now I want to see. It is 11:15. I was 6 minutes off, but yeah, things are going just about as good, I guess, as I'd like them to. I mean, there's really been no change for like, and I mean, it's unemployment. It can be fun, I mean, like when I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say that trying to make the best out of the time that I have while I search, for work, while I'm waiting to do a couple more things this month for a series for a production that I've been working on, and that's been fun. So, and that'll be as a BG, right, as a background actor. And that's something I've been doing for a long time now. And I've had some pretty good success so far. And that is very surprising to me. So I sent, and like I'm going to this open audition in a few days, or on the 13th or something. 13th and the 14th, or the 14th and the 15th, I'm not sure. But I got invited to do an open, like, it's this open call audition that I was invited to. It's open call, but I was invited to. Anyways, the people that they're looking for are like some of the people they're describing me. You feel me? Because like as an actor, you're supposed to like think about like, or you're supposed to fit roles that producers already have. So like in my case, it would be, if you're 40 and have a beard, hit us up. And it's sort of like, okay, cool. Well, I definitely look 40. I have a beard, so I'm going to hit you up. And then pretend that I can act. And then hopefully I can get a job, So that's where a lot of the character stuff comes from. And these talks and everything. You guys would not believe how much value I get from talking this much every single night. It is invaluable, and you know, I've always encouraged people to talk, right? And it's just something even before I knew was a Seinfeld joke, which is like played out AF right now, I know, but it's just like public speaking is, you know, like still probably one of the top three fears or so of all people in the United States ever of doing at all. And I just think that's something that I also feel too, but it's something that is fun for me to try and get over, right? Because, like, any successful speaker, I don't care who it is, if they tell you that, like, it's easy, you know, and I mean, that's not entirely true. It can be easy, but it's never a given to, like, you know, be able to just talk and perform, even if the performance is lackluster or not something that you like at that particular time. I just feel like given enough time, you can use that cardinal 10,000 hour mastery rule. You feel me? That's like some facts. You know, there's some no cap in that. Like, if you do something long enough, at some point, you will get good at it, and that's again just takes a lot of determination, and that's why there are very few people that are really good at what they are very talented at, you know, just because most of us are lazy like me, and you're just trying to get through your day, you feel me? And I'm happy that at some point during your day you decide that I'm like the dude that you want to spend a few minutes with. So if you're not already a subscriber, smash the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. You know, it's just the engagement that matters. I hope that you guys have a really good night, and thanks again for watching. Okay, bye.